you would be, a very good person to ask this question. So now Apple Vision Pro is here, but I'm sure you've probably seen VR grow over the last few years. Meta has been investing billions of dollars in it. How do you see the future of XR in the next 3 years or 5 years?
In the educational space, or
Yeah, as an educator and
as an
as
educator, I see it as a valuable resource and tool in the classroom of the future. I believe what the computer did, for the classroom is, especially if it's multi-device, because when COVID hit, I was on Friday, I was in person, and Monday I was in Zoom as a teacher because I lived through it. But luckily, I had a computer background, so it wasn't that hard for me. But my coworkers are going nuts.
Mhm.
So the institution, we have in this one county, there's 81 schools, 54,000 kids, and about 5,000 educators, teachers. And they all flip from a Friday to a Monday. In the poverty sections, we actually put school buses with hotspot Wi-Fi's in them for the poor neighborhoods that didn't have Wi-Fi, so every kid would have access, so they could attend class. And that was a trend. And then we gave every kid a Chromebook. So
Hmm.
Chromebook in the US is the device of choice. So that's why WebXR really, it got to me. And then I looked at HoloLens out of Germany for XR streaming for higher quality, because with a Chromebook, you can't download an executable. But now you can. There's a company, I forget the name of them, that allows you to download an executable to a Chromebook. What is the name of that company? But I'm trying to figure out, the device of choice in the US
Hmm.
is a Chromebook,
Okay.
1-to-1, because of COVID. So how, and not only use the content, I'm the LMS, the SIS, learning management system. So I see XR being an extension or a learning resource out of, are you familiar with Canvas,
Yeah, yeah.
Google
Play.
Classroom,
Yeah,
learning
yeah.
management
I'm
system?
yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm aware.
a teacher creates a lesson plan for the day. My day was 3 periods, 90 minutes long, and I had to fill that with online content and communicate with a child and a group of children, an average of 20 kids at a time for 90 minutes. So,
Hmm.
how do I keep them engaged and how do I track it? And most importantly, a lot of companies forget, I have to grade it, I have to evaluate a
Hmm.
lot.
Right. Right.
And that's why the AI is so important, especially if I have to serve more kids. So I think XR, and that's the learning analytics and the ability for kids to meet as avatars in a collaborative space, and the educator has the ability to track it, has great value. And even the little, you know, in the snippets rather than the programs. So the nano experiences of, you know, 10, no more than 20 minutes, so the teacher can use XR on the Chromebook instead of a PowerPoint, or watch this video, interact and put a link on the learning management system and say, click here. It activates a interactive XR experience, and the kid goes through and answers a couple of questions. And the questions that are asked is the quiz. It's in the flow of learning. Quizzing will go to the grade book in an SIS system, school information system, like Power School.
Yeah,
So that
AI could
ecosystem.
exactly, and AI could automatically analyze the answers and maybe give the grades. And the most important thing that in all this futuristic system would be that teachers like yourself can talk with AI to ask about performance of particular
Right,
students. So
natural language. What's Johnny doing right now?
exactly. Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and
And
it comes
that
up.
sounds, to me, that sounds super crazy because it feels like dystopia, and it feels like superpower being able to
I
ask,
built I built my first computer lab in 1987. I took out the typewriters and put IBM XTs with two 5 1/4 floppy drives. I was living.
Wow,
I'm from
wow.
the hello world, uh,
Yeah. Luckily,
but I'm not
luckily,
a programmer.
yeah, luckily I'm 29, but I have the privilege of being privilege of using floppy disk, because we used we bought our first computer in early 90s, and we saw the floppy disk. I still have the image, but my nephew, and all the new generation kids won't have this privilege of how far we've come when we have like over 2 terabytes of space in a small computer.
Right.
So yeah,
In 19, what was it? 80 something, early 80s. I worked for Radio Shack, and then I went to another company, and 100 megabyte, not gigabyte, 100 megabyte was $1,000.
wow, 100 megabytes.
In
Okay.
77, a calculator was this big that only could multiply and divide and stuff. I taught technology is an evolutionary process. So I showed a kid a calculator. That was $100,
Okay, I see,
and
I
it only
see.
could do basic math functions. So that evolution of technology, we're in the early stages of the evolution of XR as a learning tool.
Do you
You
think
know,
so? I feel like the evolution that the technology has taken over the last 3 decades
right,
is going to be nothing compared to how it evolves in the next 1 decade because of AI.
right. It's a exponential growth.
Yeah, yeah, it's but it feels like crazy exponential growth, but because since the launch of ChatGPT, we saw they launched conversational ChatGPT, which you can talk to. I see that Microsoft just yesterday announced Copilot that you can talk to, and it can generate images, it can do all sorts of stuff.
Right.
And Tesla's working on Optimus. There's another company, I think that's a Neo, which is working on a personal assistant robot. So I believe the education training is going to dramatically change over the next few years. So it's very
Oh, yes.
important for
Well,
uh,
the teachers just the problem with teachers, and I went in and tried to volunteer in the classroom. They're just so overwhelmed. They want to, but they're just still catching up from COVID as far as the new way of teaching. So they don't have time to learn XR or the desire. Some do. Some, they're really the gamers. We're in the second generation of gamers, maybe third, second. My one's 30, going to be 33, the other 37. You know, they were kind of there. I mean, I started with Donkey Kong and Pac-Man back in the day, right? And Pong,
okay,
right?
okay,
So
okay.
I wasn't being rude, but I don't know if you can see this, and I can send it to you.
I see.
That is on the wall at Epic Games home office, and that's the first
Oh,
game that, and it's the 3 1/4 floppy drive.
wow.
So, and I'm going to look at the plate. So I'm going to get my glasses. So that thing, it was actually a map, started Epic Games, and that was only 1991. So Epic
1991.
Games
Okay.
became a thing from a garage, from one guy. This is what launched it all. So it was neat to see historically they have a wall, and also they have a wall from the beginning to current of
They
all their
so
stuff.
they also have their very first game on the wall.
Yeah, that's it. That's a floppy drive. It was. Let me get closer.
Is it like the real floppy drive which has it installed?
It's one of them, I think. Yes.
Wow.